Shavua Tov, this is Rabbi Kovacs, and Mishnah Yomi is in chapter 4 of Sotah, Mishnah Hey. Ve'elu, and these women, shebeit din mikonin lahen, that instead of being warned by their husbands, they are actually warned by the court. Shinit harish bala, that Nebuch, her husband, became a harish. Harish is usually translated as deaf mute, but this is someone who cannot communicate even through sign language. Nowadays, Baruch Hashem, even if somebody is born with a significant impairment, they can be typically taught to communicate in some way, but back then there was basically nothing they could do, and a cherish is not legally competent with being unable to communicate to give a warning to his wife. O nitota, or the husband became out of his mind. O shechaya chavush beit hasurin, or he was locked up in jail. He was unable to supervise his wife and realize what's going on, and was unable to give her a warning not to go behind closed doors with another man. But the sages explain there's a distinction between when the husband himself warns his wife and when the court does. Lo lahashkota amru, they didn't say the court can warn her not to behave in this bad manner, to give her to drink as an actual real sota, elo leposla mikdevata, but rather she would lose her ketuva if she actually acted inappropriately, if she went behind closed doors. Now, according to the sages, only the husband can actually bring his wife to the temple to go through the Sotah ritual and drink the mayim marim, but the court was empowered to give a warning in the husband's absence, simply to prevent society from falling apart and from women acting promiscuously. Now, Rabbi Yossi adds to this afla hashkota. He says the warning from the Beit Din can even be the basis to allow the husband to bring her to be tested as a sota. It's not merely effective to make her lose her ketuvah if there's bad behavior. It can even cause her to be a full-blown sota. And he explains, when the husband gets out of jail, or of course if he regains his ability to communicate, or he regains his sanity, yashkena, then based on the warning the court gave his wife when he was, unavailable, then he can actually take her to Yerushalayim and make her be tested. So it comes out, according to the sages, the warning of the court could make the woman forfeit her financial rights, which is understandable because a court has broad power in financial matters. According to Yossi, the warning of the court could even be the basis for the husband to have the wife tested as a sota, and if she's guilty, she will even perish. When we get to Sanhedrin, there's actually an interesting case of a murder trial where there's a mistrial, and Sanhedrin's all about the court, the judicial system, and our sages were empowered that if the murderer should have been executed, but there was a technicality, perhaps one of the witnesses was a relative, or both the witnesses were brothers, on technicality, everybody knows he committed the murder. It's not a doubt at all. Then the court could imprison this murderer and overfeed him until he passes away. Normally in Jewish law, there is no prison. There's no incarceration in Jewish law. There's a punishment, and the person does tshuva and rejoins society. But here in this case, this person is a danger to society, and they separate him until he passes away. Maybe here too, Rabbi Yossi says the court is empowered to start the sota process so that women whose husbands are overseas or unavailable or a little bit out of their mind, not paying attention, will take their marriage seriously. Let's go on to chapter 5. This is really an amazing Mishnah. Keshem shemaim bodkinotah, just like the water tests the woman accused of adultery, kach hamayim bodkin oto, so too the water tests him, meaning the man she was behind closed door with, where there might have been infidelity. Shnamar uvau, the Pesukim say, and the waters will come, and then they say, and the waters will come. So the waters are coming twice, once on the accused woman and once on the man she may have been intimate with. Kashem she'asur lebal, and just as if she becomes forbidden to return to her husband, and this is a case where she wasn't tested, but she said, I don't want to go through with it, or she admits she was defiled, kachasur lebal. She also cannot then marry this man she was behind closed door with, even if we don't have proof that something happened. She was impure, she became defiled to her husband, and she became defiled. That word is repeated, meaning it's not just the husband, it's also the man she was accused of being with. Divri Rabbi Akiva, that's according to Rabbi Akiva. Amar Rabbi Yoshua, his teacher, says, Koch haya durish Zechariah ben Akotzav. He says, that's a beautiful drasha. That's the same drasha that Zechariah ben Akotzav said. Rabbi Yehuda Nasi brings another source, Shnei ha'amim ha'amorim beparsha. It says it twice in the parsha, in the verses about Sotah. Im nitma'a, if you have become defiled, and defiled, again, so it's repeated. Echad lebal, echad lebal. One time for the husband and one time for the accused adulterer. Now, that was the same doubling that we cited at the beginning of this Mishnah, that the water also tests and perhaps punishes and kills the adulterer, the man in question also. Rebbe, the Gemara explains in the Gemara in 28, page 28, he has another derivation, but he does agree to that halacha also, that if a man was acting improperly with a married woman, he will not be off the hook. When the woman is punished, he will also die a horrible death. Shkoyach and Shavua Tov. Good vach.